in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Please welcome.
Welcome to the gayest podcast ever.
Hello and welcome to the gayest podcast ever. I'm Josh and I'm here with
Eric
and CJ.
Happy New Year, boys!
Oh my God, we made it! The finale!
It's 2021. New year, new me. Right? That's how it works. You just say
I'm hoping that the second part is like better than the first movie because I didn't care for it.
Yeah, I feel like we're actually in the 20s now. We're in the 2020s. This is the roaring 20s now. Let's just get it going. Let's start it. Let's make it better.
I read something today that as of now, anyone born before 2000 is of legal drinking age.
That is
Kids born
correct.
right? Kids born on like January 4th.
They'll start turning. Yeah, they'll start. 2000 starts this year. Yeah.
So the sign at like the bars when we can go back inside them will say if you're born before this date, and it says 2000.
Yep.
That's insane. That's so insane. We could like drive cars in 2000. Oh, you guys graduated, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
vitamin C, baby.
Here we go.
Oh my God. All the girls who got knocked up on prom night, their babies can drink.
That happened to the girl that like her, well, not on prom night, but she got pregnant like right after high school. Her locker was right next to mine. Her kid's like going to college for like 2 years now. I'm like,
Yep. There was someone a year younger than me, and she posted on Facebook last week. She goes, "I can't believe my baby's going to college." I'm like, "What?"
yeah. Like I know like people that I worked with and like bartended with and stuff are like posting like they're going to be grandmas and stuff. And I'm like, oh.
Isn't that insane? Like they say the older you get, the faster time goes, but it's just accelerating at a pace I'm not comfortable with right now.
I'm like, I just went to like baby showers 3 years ago. What do you mean you're going to be a grandma? Like,
Crazy.
Yeah, insane. But 2021 is here, whether we like it or not. We're going to hopefully kick it off on the right foot in a couple of weeks with bringing in number 46, and hopefully he'll set the tone for a positive or negative. I feel the word positive now has got negative connotations. The only negativity I want in my life in 2021 is, COVID tests and pregnancy tests.
Oh my God. This time last year, we were planning on going to Florida, and like we were so excited, and we had the whole year ahead of us. We were looking forward to it. I'm so glad we went to Florida.
We were kicking that year off with a bang. Like I remember we got together and had dinner and like watched the premiere of Schitt's Creek because it was like the last season. Yes, and then like we watched the first episode when we were in Florida. And yeah, we just thought we're living our best lives, like toasting on the beach. Like can't wait to see what this year brings. We came home and it was like dun dun dun. Like,
Yeah, it came on quickly. I know I was talking with family members and I was just like, I remember listening to a podcast episode in like February being like, what is this coronavirus? Why is like Italy and China, like there's something bad going on. Like I should listen to a podcast episode about this. I mean, like, oh, that's interesting. And then, oh my gosh.
No, a single day without hearing coronavirus, like COVID-19.
What was that?
You can't go a single day now without that being brought up.
It's insane, right? Hopefully everyone, I've known several people who've gotten the vaccine. All of them are in like the health industry. And
Josh, you watch Disney movies. Is it I can't remember if it's Rapunzel or the one that starts with a T.
Tangled?
Like, doesn't her mother keep her quarantined or something? And the village she lives in is called Corona. Like, I cannot with yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It is. She's quarantined, locked in a tower. I think they're a little different.
I literally started watching the show Designated Survivor. It came out a couple of years ago. It's with Kiefer Sutherland. I got producer Chad and Chris to start watching it. And just without giving too much, I think they knew that all of this was going to happen in like 2017, because like he gets elected president, obviously, because he's the designated survivor. And then he has problems with the Michigan governor, and like the Michigan governor won't let him get off the plane, and all these guards are called and everything. And that's like a whole plot line. And then it's about the people's president from behind the scenes. There's like all this quarantine stuff and virus stuff. I was like, did they know all this was happening back then?
I mean, to be fair, we've had virus outbreaks in the past. Our president at the time just chose to appropriately deal with them, and we had a task force, and all that was shut down. I mean, you think back to the avian flu. We had an Ebola breakout when President Barack Obama was president, and he shut that shit down. We didn't get Ebola.
Facts.
So, I mean, the story is
we just can't wait to 8645.
Yeah. We did the, what's that? What was those books where you like to fill in the adjective?
Oh, like Mad Libs?
Mad Libs.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is 2020 was a Mad Libs, and we chose the wrong fucking words. That's what happened. But hopefully like I said, it'll all be wrapped up. But I'm so glad that we made it. We survived. And luckily, I believe all of our loved ones also made it through the year, because there's a year where a lot of people didn't. So we are thankful to you, our listeners, and to everyone out there that we survived. And we just got to be smart, and we'll get through this. And before we totally say goodbye to 2020, we thought we would do a little year in review, a little recap. It was a weird year for pop culture, to say the least, as we were discussing beforehand. But I think we're going to fill up our glasses, and when we come back, we're going to dive into a little bit of what we watched on the silver screen. Is that what the TV's called, right? The silver screen?
No, it's called My Best Friend. I officially named her Nancy.
Did you get a new TV?
No, not yet.
Oh.
I spent a lot of time with her, over the past year.
I was going to be excited for you. I know what your old TV was like.
We got new appliances. That's exciting. We're excited for our new appliances.
Woo woo. All right. Well, so we're going to refill our glasses, and when we come back, we're going to tackle TV. Stay tuned.
You talk.
And we're back, and what we're going to talk about first, as I mispronounced it, said the silver screen. I think that's Hollywood. But TV, what did we watch on the tube in 2020? And it's funny that I said Hollywood, because I think that was one of the big Netflix shows that we did watch on TV, Hollywood, about the silver screen. That was a Ryan Murphy production that Netflix had. I was going back and I was looking through, and I watched a lot of Netflix.
Oh,
were they the
that's all we had.
I watched those that were cool like 4 years ago, because there was just nothing would have been greater to watch Game of Thrones now and catch up.
Well, I mean, one of the things that we talked about already was Schitt's Creek. The last season came on this year, and I binged the whole thing. It was my first time watching it, simply because we watched the beginning of the last season when we were in Florida, or going to Florida. And so Schitt's Creek, ended on a great note this year.
I binged it twice since quarantine has started. I just finished again the other day. I watched their wedding again and bawled my eyes out.
Yeah, it was really good to have like the last season and then like go back and rewatch the entire thing, because they're quick 22-minute episodes, and we're so joyful in this time where it was a crazy year and you need that comfort, you need that laughter.
And they left it open, and I hope they do come back and possibly do a film. And they cleaned up at the Emmys. It was a great 2020 for Schitt's Creek. I'm sad that we didn't get to see them at the shows. It would have been nice, because they definitely deserved it. But yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool, though, how they had their own little quarantine party, and they did it in the tables. It was very I'm glad someone was let's front the money and do this properly for them, because they deserved it. Such a good show, and it was definitely needed in this year.
Well, those Canadians doing it better with everything. So
Right. And I was trying to think of, and I know I'm going to get some hate from Eric on this, but my Grey's Anatomy, when I think about what happened back in the beginning of 2020 with Alex saying goodbye, which was so insane. You forget that happened this year.
I hope that Grey's Anatomy catches coronavirus and just goes off the air. Like, just go away.
And if you catched up on the current
I know, Meredith
season,
has whatever.
Yeah, it's real bad at Cielo Grace, or what's it now?
Grace Salone
Memorial. There it is.
But I love how they wrote the whole pandemic into the show. It's with shows now, it's either they wrote it in and they're dealing with it, or they're just pretending like it's not even a thing. But I love the fact that they're using it as a day-to-day like aspect.
So many shows did write it in. Like, I did think about, like, what if shit's go that route, because we all just sat there watching it last year, and like, if I bet he would have made it, he would have brought some humor to it. But a lot of shows like This Is Us has incorporated it. Chicago PD, like a lot of them are incorporated into their shows, and it's what's happening in life right now. So how do you not?
Yeah. And it's hard because I think there's two thoughts. There's one that's like, it is happening. They want to be relevant. They want to be, and then the other one is that I want to escape when I watch TV and I don't want to see it. Like, I have to wear a mask when I'm outside. I don't want to see someone in a mask. I think it's easier for a medical drama to do it because they're already, it's easy to write in when wearing a mask. They're doing it.
And especially, they're like, this is a whole new storyline for us. We don't even have to write this. They're writing it themselves.
Yeah. And and bringing back McDreamy, and George, and spoiler
people
alert,
are out of work. People are out of work. They're looking for work.
Love it. But it feels good. But I couldn't, and then I think the number one show that we have to talk about from 2020, that bitch Carol Baskin,
Tiger King. It was number one on my list.
Oh my God.
mean, if you had, and I was thinking about this before we got on the show, if you had to pick a show that really, really signals what 2020 meant to you, I think you have to go with Tiger King. And I think the reason you have to do it is because no one in America thought that there were parts of America that lived like that. And then they all came out of the woodwork, and we realized all across this country, there is a lot of different walks of life.
Yeah, some places you don't want to visit. That's not a place, because he's from the deep south of Florida, yes? Or no, wait, where's he?
No, he's not even from Florida. Oklahoma, New Mexico?
Oklahoma makes sense. We'll just go with that. No, it's somewhere in the south.
Did he run for the governor?
I don't know.
For the governor of like Oklahoma or New Mexico, and he came in like third place.
Well, she got on Dancing with the Stars from that. I mean, she's
from Florida. She's from Florida.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
Everybody was talking about that show. Like, it's not like, this has certain viewers, this has a certain viewers. Everybody was talking about Tiger King. I mean, it was definitely a pop thing for sure.
Do you think it would have been as popular if like COVID wasn't happening?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
That was the point where we wanted new stuff to watch. And Hollywood was like, we're not sure if we're going to do anything yet. But Netflix already filmed this. This is ready to go. That's why we watched.
Did either of you guys watch The Queen's Gambit?
No, it's on my list of things to watch.
So good. I bought a chessboard and I'm making Dan learn how to play chess.
Did you really?
Oh, I played chess in college all the time. Like, me and my roommates would always play chess. I love it. My dad taught me when I was young.
Was it the chessboard that were like shot glasses, and that when you lost the pawn, you had to take?
No, my mom got me one for. Listen, coming from a boy who has, a grown man who has a hickey on his neck, that's a little offensive.
Wow, I know you're not talking about me.
I can't believe you went there, but Jesus.
Make fun of me and my shot glasses.
If you would have let me finish, I would have said my roommate had that set, and that's how we played at MSU. I went to a state school. Of course, we made a drinking game out of it. It was not going to be a shame. It was going to be hey, I can't wait for this to be over so I can come over and play chess with you.
Do either of you know how to play chess?
Yes.
I've learned how to play a long time ago. Actually, my dad had a coworker who visited from the UK when I was in high school, I was in love with this guy. Like, this was my like daddy.
Keep it clean. Keep it clean. Just kidding.
Right. And so like he taught me how to play chess, and that's probably why I paid attention, because he was so hot. I'm like, oh yes, hot English man.
CJ just wanted. He's like, I'm the queen, right? Like,
I bet he's a silver daddy now. I should try to find him on the Facebook.
Yeah, it's on the list. I have not watched The Queen's Gambit yet.
I highly recommend it. It's really good.
Yeah, we did start after. I mean, I also felt like a lot of the TV shows I watched were recommendations we gave on here. Like I watched the Emily in Paris after you guys had binged that, and that was really good. I want to say really good. It was just enjoyable. It was just an easy.
It was just an escape. Yeah.
Yeah. We wanted to go somewhere else in the world.
Yeah.
Emily took us there. Also, The Boys.
The Boys.
Right. I have that on my list.
I don't know if you guys saw.
We binge watched it at the cottage. Josh was totally not into it, and I binge watched it. They all had to work, and I was binge watching it. And he just started asking questions. Then he slowly made his way over to the couch.
And I had to go back and rewatch the first season and catch up. And I never watched shows like that. And that I'm very.
That's how I felt about the Umbrella Academy, though. I didn't think I was going to like it, and I totally loved it.
Yeah, that was another one written down. Like Umbrella Academy season 2 came out, and that was a nice watch for us.
Yeah, Barack Obama had The Boys on his list of things to watch. When he does his year end, The Boys was one of them. I was like, oh, good for them. But yeah, like I was running out of stuff to watch, like we were talking about. So you're going back, and I think Eric, we had started in January with The Office when we were in Florida, and then so when everything, I was like, I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna watch The Office, and I binged all of that, and I had never seen the last 2 seasons, so I got to see that.
Josh, that little excursion in Florida with me, you and like in that room when you were like, let's just nonsense, let's put on The Office. And I remember it was like the dinner party episode, and I cracked up the whole time. And thank God for that, because I literally came home and I have binge watched it, but it's like my new Friends, where I can put it on anytime and just rewatch them.
I had it on New Year's Day. Like I was like, I just need something in the background, and it was where Phyllis gets married. Well, first it was the bachelorette party, then when Phyllis gets married, and it's just so good. It's like really when they really found their rhythm, and I love it.
Speaking of TV shows that just premiered, though, so RuPaul's Drag Race just started. Josh, are you going to watch this year? I know you've kind of fallen off the bandwagon.
So yeah, I didn't watch it all the last season, but I heard this episode was the most watched episode of all time.
Nothing. CJ, you watched it.
Yeah, well, it's most watched because one, it was New Year's Day. No one was doing anything. Everyone was hungover. They needed something to watch. But yeah, it's interesting. I'll be interested to see how it goes. She's definitely changed some things up a bit. There's some concerns.
Are they in a quarantine bubble for the competition? Like,
I think it's like the challenge. Like they have to quarantine for a certain amount of time before they do the show. Like everyone has to live in like these hotel rooms. But
they didn't really talk about quarantining anyone except for the judges. Their table is further back, and there are dividers between the judges. That was the only thing that was really like quarantine based. But I think what Eric was saying, like they've definitely quarantined so many days before.
Yeah, because I think it's just them that is like going to be in the hotel and like the workrooms together. So I don't think that they're doing a lot with them per se.
I mean, quarantine pretty much to begin with, anyways.
I didn't like the style of the show, like the way that the entrance happened. So they bring like 2 girls in at a time, and then like Rue calls those 2 girls to the main stage, and they lip sync for their life right there. And then there's a winner and a loser, and the loser goes backstage, and all the losers are collected backstage, and all the winners think they've won, and they give you no other dialogue on the show. I don't know. I'm curious to see how it's going to go. It just wasn't my favorite, like, welcome to 2021 episode. Like, it was
interesting. Yeah. We're doing YouTube TV. So I have it recorded. I just haven't watched it yet. So I'll be able to discuss. I'm running out of shit to watch because they couldn't film half the shit, and now stuff's shutting down again. So they're not going to be able to film anything new. So just I was like, need to watch something.
I have one word for you. Bravo.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I feel like the subscription services really got us through this year, like Disney Plus, HBO Max.
They sure did. They're raising all their prices.
Well, listen, as much as I watch it, I'm probably going to drop cable and just watch those. But you guys don't watch The Mandalorian, do you?
No.
So that was a show that I had run out of stuff to watch, and I watched both seasons. So I am current, and it was actually pretty enjoyable.
Second season, much more enjoyable for me, definitely because they dive much deeper into this whole Star Wars mythology and that.
I'm definitely not watching.
No, it was really good.
It was shot very beautifully. Like Disney definitely gave them that Disney money.
Much bigger budget this season.
And Baby Yoda. I watched for Baby Yoda.
Right.
Laura Dern saw him at a basketball game one time.
So 2 shows that we've not talked about, but one of them I loved and the other one I hated. Raised by Wolves. Have you guys heard about this on HBO Max?
Mm-mm.
You would not love it. It's a very futuristic sci-fi show. It takes place with these androids who are sent to a planet to give birth to a child.
I'm officially sleeping.
Horrible. Like, it got rave reviews, and I guess if you were really into that, I love sci-fi. I could not. I had to stop after 2 shows. No. But another HBO Max show that I love, His Dark Matters. Or Materials, I'm sorry. His Dark
Materials, yeah.
Which, if you've seen The Golden Compass, that's what this was based on. The TV show is much more in line with like his novels. I just finished season 2 of that. Fantastic. So if you're looking for a show, there's 2 seasons available. It's really good. It's kind of fantasy-like. It takes place with different universes. And
so you like the show? Because the movie wasn't very good.
The movie was horrible.
I read all 3 books, and the last book is so terrible it upset the series for me. So I read the books, and after the 3rd book, I was like, So I was kind of leery about the TV show. But Lin-Manuel Miranda's in it, right?
Yes.
And I love Lin.
And he's fantastic.
Might have to give it now that the HBO Max app is on the Roku. I've been enjoying HBO Max more, so we'll have to check that out. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting year. A lot of old stuff that we watched. You binged old shows, comfort shows that were really good, and it really went to the cable, not the cable, what do we call those? The standalone services like the Hulu's and streaming, whatever. But yeah, it was.
Life is but a stream.
It's but a stream. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, refill our cups, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the music that got us through 2020. Be right back.
I love the way that you talk.
And we're back, and now we thought we'd talk about the tunes that, kind of helped us through. I listen to a lot of music. So
basically, this is karaoke for the next 15 minutes.
No, because honestly...
He just lit up. Like, look at Christmas tree, his eyes just lit up.
Because the music in 2020 was strange. It started off strange with the Grammys, because remember at the Grammys it was Lizzo was the most nominated artist, and Billie Eilish ended up winning more awards than Lizzo. It was the Billie Eilish show, right. And she just kind of mumbled her way through her performance per usual. She's
still mumbling her way through 2020 into 2021.
She's so strange. I still don't get her. I gave that album a listen and I still don't get it, but to each their own. How about you boys? What'd you listen to? What'd you love?
Dua Lipa, first of all, was my album of 2020. I listened to that album so much.
Same.
It'll be what I think of 2020 when I listen to it.
I love Dua Lipa, and now she's dating a Hadid. And I just think they're beautiful people. So their mother was a real housewife. I mean, it's just come full circle. All right, speaking of music, another big Hadid fan, The Weeknd. Listen to a lot of The Weeknd.
The Weeknd had like the #1 song of the year, right?
Yeah, The Weeknd was on my radar this year.
Blinding Lights. And it started off super like low key, and then like it became that dance sensation with the TikTok, and then it just blew up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
That was.
Well, who doesn't love The Weeknd? I mean, like it's like the greatest name ever. Like,
when I win the Mega Millions tonight, every day is going to be the weekend.
can't wait.
Yeah, that was a really, really big one. And I don't think we can talk about 2020 music without talking about WAP.
WAP.
I mean,
Okay, I don't want to talk too much about it though, because I want to keep my dinner down.
Definitely had people talking for sure. Like of all songs, people hadn't even heard the song. They knew what WAP was.
Yeah,
but it's just insanity to me. Like when I go to Thanksgiving or something, and my little niece is there, and she's like, "Want to see this new TikTok dance I learned to the WAP?" and starts doing it, and you're like, "No, like absolutely not."
I thought when you said Thanksgiving that you were gonna like connect like macaroni. But
no,
like whoa,
did Kylie Jenner not make an appearance in this video? The
one of the
video?
Kardashians did.
Yeah, I think it was Kylie.
I had to Google what it was at first because I was just like, I had no idea. Did they make that up?
I have no idea. No clue.
Eric, of the three of us, you're the most experienced.
You know what? we need to move past this.
That was great.
I mean, I did almost die like the one time. It's our little friend Dee's birthday. Happy birthday, Danielle, if you're listening. But the one time she did post on her Instagram story and the song was on and she like took a photo of Alyssa and said, "There's my WAP." I died. It was too much for me.
Grody. Another one that it's a secret guilty pleasure is Megan Thee Stallion's Savage. Just because I really like going classy, bougie, ratchet. Like,
Josh is living his best music video life in the shower.
I mean, I love a good lyric. She's like, classy, bougie, ratchet. Like, it was just like, that's magic.
So you like every Todd Rick Hall song there is.
Right. So I saw this on a list of songs for biggest songs of 2020, but I feel like it was also 2019, but was Dance Monkey 2019 or 2020?
I feel like it was 2020 because I feel like I really got to do it during quarantine for some reason.
For sure, because I remember right after like quarantine, like when the summer came and things were getting way better and we could hang out and have pool parties, I was trying to put together a playlist, and Alyssa was the one. I was like, there's a song called Dance Monkey by Tones and Me or Tones and I or whatever. She's like, oh, you'll like it. You've heard it. You just don't know the title of it. And then I look, and I do love it. So I think it is a 2020 song. Maybe it had a life like on the under the radar, but maybe it definitely hit mainstream in 2020.
Yeah, it's sad that we can't even remember like between Florida and like St. Patrick's Day, and then everything else is like just a blur.
That's when I was looking at TV shows, I was like, "No, was this 2019 or 2020? I can't remember."
Like all the days just blended together. That's how I felt on a Saturday after New Year's Day. I was like, I posted a thing on my Instagram, like, apparently it's Saturday. I'm like, I can't even do this anymore. Like, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, 2020 was weird, and like the time paradox where like it was just as long, but also like what the fuck happened? It went by so quick. Like it was this really weird mantra. Maybe because every day felt the same, that's why it felt long. But at the exact same time, who knows? I'm not going to try and understand it. I mean, we also got to talk about T Swift dropping 2 albums. 2 albums? What? That's insane.
Chad's still waiting on another second documentary.
Well, she did drop one on Disney Plus where she kind of goes, it's more like she goes through and plays all the songs, but she just talk about each song and how she wrote it, how it came to be. It's very interesting, but it was the albums were definitely created in 2020. Like, they're sad, but they're beautiful. And it really was, it was my most played album. She was my most played artist according to Spotify, so I was feeling it.
I have to say, I like the second release better than the first release for me. There's more singles, I feel like, on the second release than the first.
I would agree that the second one's definitely more upbeat, a little bit more of a rhythm to it than the first one.
I remember when we were in Florida last year, and it's when the Jonas Brothers "I'm a Sucker for You" dropped. And I remember we watched it in the hotel room, and I did not really care for it. I mean, I thought the greatest thing was that Nick was sliding around in his underwear.
No, you're thinking of What a Man.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. What a Man Gotta Do. I'm sorry. Yeah. See, it's a blur. It's all a blur. It's just a blur.
We did watch it together in the hotel room.
I remember, like, in the hotel room when we first got to the hotel, and then I was like, I don't really like it. And now it's like one of my favorite songs. It only took a year, but it happened.
Yeah. And then I think also, like, we got to talk about, and it was a weird year to release music for a lot of people, I feel like. And Lady Gaga definitely encountered that. Like, she came through with the Chromatica, which she thought was going to be this huge album concert experience, and then all kind of just fell to the side.
I think, honestly, it was such an anticipated album. Everybody was waiting for this. There were countdowns and everything. Lady Gaga's coming out with her album next month. And then when it released, it just kind of fizzled for me. It wasn't like, obviously, Rain on Me was a jam. Loved it. But I didn't really like any of the other singles or songs on the album. It wasn't a big one for me.
Yeah, it's hard to release a up-tempo, upbeat album when she released it in March, when everyone's feeling so sad and scared and unknown. Like, in March, like, we did not know what the fuck was going on. We didn't know what was happening. And now you want me to, like, have a dance party? No, thank you. I'll sit in the corner and cry listening to folklore. Like, that's
we're looking for Sarah McLachlan to drop an album, not you.
Yes, exactly. Or the other thing I found myself listening to in 2020 was a lot of 90s country. Because it took me back. It took me to a very, like, good place. Like, give me that Garth, give me that Shania, give me those Dixie Chicks. Like, give me that good 90s country that makes me feel like, everything's going to be okay. Just kill the husband and, we'll get away with murder.
Somebody had a good year, and maybe it's because all of his songs sound very sad. Louis Capaldi, I think, had 3 really big singles this year, but they're all sad.
He is more of a downer. But
look at Stevie Nicks' Dreams, like, gave people hope.
Yeah. Well, and, like, I'm super curious, like, the number of people who are waiting to release new music. Like, CJ and I were talking in one of her interviews. Kelly Clarkson, like, literally dropped she's like, oh yeah, that's going to be on my new album. And I was like, oh, so is it done? Do we have
you guys just can't help it. Like, just Kelly Clarkson.
This second it came out of my mouth,
can't help it. Like, every time.
Okay, Eric, the episode that we go without naming Kelly Clarkson, maybe you'll go without saying bravo.
Okay. Well, then also, I'm still waiting for Britney's new single to drop. It's going to be called Twirl 2020. And it better be her twirling her damn way through her living room with her 90,000 Instagram videos of her twirling.
To be fair, Britney did release a couple new songs in 2020, and Swimming in the Stars is the jam.
And she also wasn't out at parties getting COVID, so she's
and she definitely wasn't taking care of those extensions either.
Well, she couldn't go to her stylist. She could not.
No one could get their hair cut, Eric.
Okay.
She's trying to be responsible to get her life back.
Okay, we're done. We're done.
But also 2021. I mean, we're waiting for the divorce album from Kelly, the divorce album from Adele. Like,
we were supposed to get Adele. Like,
I thought for sure we were going to get Adele.
Adele was going to happen in November, then didn't happen. Then it was promised in April, did not happen. Adele.
I'm like, yeah.
Isn't she getting some new D? Doesn't she have a new man?
Only thing she dropped were those pounds.
I'm like, she ain't writing no songs.
Well, we finally got new Dixie Chicks music, and it was kind of sad. It was kind of also on tone with
Aren't they?
2020.
Isn't it just the Chicks now?
Oh, it is. I'm terrible at that. You're right. It is the Chicks. My bad.
It's okay. It's like when Prince went to be a symbol. I mean, like
the artist formerly known as Prince.
I'm
No
like,
one's
whatever.
calling you that, Prince. No one's gonna call you the artist formerly known as Prince.
I hate when
Like,
people change their names like that. Like, just stick with what you know. Like,
right? Oh,
Justin Bieber had some low key like good singles come through.
he had that one with Ariana that I really liked that came out like out of the pandemic. And his new one, he just dropped a new one called Anyone on New Year's Day that I really like. Spencer didn't like it, but give it 100 more listens from me and he'll probably come around.
Yeah. Harry Styles was another one who dropped some singles low key. Watermelon Sugar.
Keeps shocking the F out of me. Like,
I love Harry Styles.
I literally can't keep track on the boy. Like, okay, so now he was posing in dresses on Vogue. Now he's like apparently in a relationship with Olivia Wilde. I'm like, I can't keep up with him. He's like an amazing human being.
Yeah.
He zero fucks. He gives zero fucks about what anyone thinks about him.
That's the way to live.
Ain't it? But yeah, so I was going to say the Grammys are coming up, but we just found out they're going to get postponed. So that, 2021, let's do it. But it would have been sad because we probably couldn't even get together and watch the Grammys, which I always get super drunk at Eric's, watch the Grammys and spend the night. And
Isn't that usually like the day after Snowball that we can't go to either? Oh.
Yeah, that was probably canceled too, huh?
Way to go. Things remind me of things we can't do.
Yeah.
Just go on your memories on Facebook every day. It's just a reminder. They should relabel it things you can't do. Like,
I'm just going to get drunk, order room service, and get in the bathtub. It'll be just like Snowball.
Wonderful. All right. Well, let's refill our drinks. Let's take a quick pee break. And we come back. We're going to talk about the movies we did and did not see in 2020. We'll be right back.
You talk.
And we're back. And we thought we would tackle the movies of 2020. And I think there were more canceled than that actually made it anywhere.
Did you guys watch any movies? Because I tried to watch the firefighter movie with Pete from Saturday Night Live, Pete Davidson. And we were going to rent it initially, and then they were charging like $20. And I was like, no. So we waited till it came to like on demand, and it was $6. But I think that's the only movie like I really saw that I didn't see.
I was trying to think. I'm like, most of the movies I saw were made for TV Christmas movies. Like they were.
Irishman I watched on Netflix.
I didn't even watch The Irishman. That was a good one.
Well, it was 3.5 hours long. It's a commitment.
So I was trying to think, and does Hamilton count as a movie?
No, it does not. It is a musical. No, and neither do those ABC Come to Life Disney special movies.
No, those are specials. Those are for sure specials, so I wouldn't count those. But it was like a 2.5 hour movie.
Well, what movies were supposed to come out this year?
Oh, a lot. I started to go through of like each month what the big movies were. So obviously I ran into a brick wall after March. But January was Bad Boys for Life. I don't even remember that movie coming out.
I did
You
go
saw
see.
that?
I saw that from my cousin for her birthday. We loved the Bad Boys movie since we were kids. We went last February, and I remember there was nobody in the theater. Probably the last time I was in a movie theater, and we had to like get drinks. And I remember her husband bought them for us, and it was like $32 or something for 3 drinks.
Yeah, for like 6 ounces of something.
Yeah, little to go.
Yeah.
February, Birds of Prey, which was the Harley Quinn like spinoff from
the Justice League type thing. Suicide Squad. Thank you.
And I don't even think it did well in theaters. I think it almost went straight to like HBO Max. And then March Onward, which it also got pushed to streaming, was the little animated film. I don't
The one
remember.
with Chris Pratt and
No. This one was about trolls. And
Yeah, with Chris Pratt and Spider-Man.
really?
Tobey Maguire?
No, the new one.
Oh, the Andrew kid?
Tom
Used to date
Holland.
Emma Stone?
Tom Holland.
Oh.
There's a third one. Eric.
It's like the Batmans now. I can't even
Yeah.
keep up.
I don't even remember who was in it. It was a cute movie, though. I watched not streaming.
Funny
Spencer
story.
and I watched it. It was right when quarantine first started. They released it like Easter weekend to help people feel better.
Story. Arnold Schwarzenegger today or a couple days ago in an interview referred to his son-in-law Chris Evans. His son-in-law is Chris Pratt. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Especially since it was who's the best Chris debate.
right.
Yeah. Oh,
I got a little giggle out of that one.
he
I
might
read
as
that
well
article.
just said, "Oh, my son-in-law, the homophobic Chris." That one.
Right.
Ooh, yeah, never mind. Go ahead.
No, CJ. So Mulan was supposed to come out in March.
Yes, Mulan
and
was on my march, and then I was like, "Wait,
It
it's
was.
not."
It eventually came to Disney streaming, and me and Spencer did watch it.
Did not.
So it's definitely not at all like the cartoon. There's no music, there's no singing, but it's beautifully shot. The costumes, the scenery, beautiful. The storyline, it kind of feels a little long.
Okay. I'll give it a go, but
I definitely think if you're looking for something kind of like Sunday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, it's beautifully shot, and the costumes and the makeup, beautifully done.
and then I feel like that was kind of almost it for movies. Like there was nothing.
I think the other big one I think is Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and that came out on Christmas Day.
And that came out but it was supposed to be in theaters.
Nothing this summer at all. I mean, Tenet I think came out in select theaters because that was about the time we were.
And that's the Christopher Nolan one, right? He did that weird one.
New Mutants came out in the theaters, which didn't do very well. It was a very odd time for movies.
Yeah, I mean, I did write down The Prom because that was a Ryan Murphy movie. Yeah. It was original to Netflix, but it was a movie based off a musical. We know Eric doesn't love musicals.
I like Hamilton. I fought you guys on Hamilton and I watched it. I loved it. I'm not going to watch it 19 times with you guys, but I liked it. I'm not a musical person.
I've watched
I'm a real life kind of guy. I mean, there's coronavirus. I'm not going to walk down the street singing.
Hamilton is real life.
I can't with him.
History.
So another movie that I watched that I was like, okay, Spencer, thank you. Good thoughts. You thought of a movie. It's on Netflix. It's called The Trial of the Chicago 7. And if you like, I'm a little bit of a history buff. I like a little bit of historical. It was about the trial of these 7 guys in Chicago around the time of the draft, the Vietnam era. And it's got the Eddie Redmayne, the Borat guy, it's really, really good. And you watch it and you can't even believe you're like, this happened here in America, because the judge in it is just insane. And they're talking a lot about Oscars and Golden Globes for a lot of the crew. It was really, really well done. So if you're looking for something, it is heavy, but by the end of it, I was on the edge of my seat. Like, are they going to get away with it? How's this going to happen? It was really, really good. The Trial of the Chicago 7. And then another movie I thought of, Eric, that we watched together was The Boys in the Band.
That was cute.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
That was cute. Did we watch the same movie? Oh my God, I would have left that party the minute that all started. I was like,
yeah.
This is a very uncomfortable turn. I was looking for a rainy day and some chili and some giggles.
I thought very realistic of gays.
I feel like, I don't know why Jim Parsons is going down this dark character path, but I need him to bring it back to Sheldon.
Listen, he's got a face that does not say musical sweetie. He's got a creepy face.
Yeah, I did not. Me and Spencer, he's like, what do you think of the movie? I go, I kind of want to take a bottle of pills with a glass of wine. It was just very dark.
Gosh, that's just all of 2020.
Yeah. Well, and then
I mean, I think David said it best when I'm going to take a pill, cry a little, and then go to sleep.
Yeah. But so the other thing that I thought we could talk about so the movies that didn't happen, the movies that we did see, but like I know a lot of us, because when we were quarantined, we were relying on some of those old favorites, those old faithfuls. Did you guys watch any movies that you were just like, because Spencer is 7 years younger than me. There was we found a shit ton of movies that he had never seen that were like, so like, oh my God, you have to see this. So that was a lot of fun. Like we watched both The Father of the Brides, The First Wives Club, stuff like that.
Josh, no, like Spencer's a little bit younger than us, so of course he's never seen those movies. We've all seen those movies.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, like, so it was fun to watch something that like made me feel good, something that like, those rom-coms.
Oh, just 90s, like movies that like
10 Things I Hate About You. Like we went back and we watched movies that I loved and that he had never seen before. So I loved watching him watch them, if that makes any sense. Was there any movies that you went back? Like we watched The Goonies. He had never seen The Goonies. Just those like feel good films that like make you feel good.
I rewatched all 9 of the Star Wars movies. So I did them all in order. Actually, there was more than that because I included Rogue One. I included Solo. So, all 11 plus. And then I also rewatched all of the Marvel movies as well, starting with Iron Man 1.
Now you're just showing off and trying to make me look bad because I couldn't.
Which I watched all 20-something of them. I mean, we had a lot of time on our hands in the summer.
Yeah, we were quarantined.
Oh, yeah, no, me and Dan don't really watch the same kind of movies. He's very into sci-fi. Like, we can watch things like The Irishman or things like that together, but he's very into, like, sci-fi movies, and, like, I'm into, I can watch, like, 10 Things I Hate About You. She's all that, things. But I have a wide variety. He does not watch movies like that. He can barely sit through a movie. So
yeah, he could barely sit through that Christmas one we watched together, the Hulu one.
The Dan Levy one.
Season. He was getting fidgety and all about.
He's not really a sit down and movie kind of person.
Steve got all 4 of the Indiana Jones movies for Christmas, so we're looking forward to watching those. We like classic movies like that like older movies.
We did all the Harry Potters too at one point during like the first part of quarantine, just because those are like easy feel good movies. Yep. And then at like Halloween and Christmas, it was fun to go back. Like we did Beetlejuice, we did Death Becomes Her, we did every movie that felt kind of like haunted, scary, stuff like that.
So are there going to be like an Oscars and stuff this year? Or?
Yeah.
Are there? Okay.
Well, yeah. When I was looking at like top movies for 2020, a lot of like Chinese movies were.
Oh, that 1917 movie! It was all over at the beginning of the year. And then
Spencer made me watch that one.
That Tom Hanks movie, he kind of got buzzed for the Mr. Rogers thing that came out in the beginning of the year.
That was last year, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, that was qualifying for last Oscar season. He's got a new one out, the one with the mail carrier, where he's the mailman. That's going to be what he's contending for.
You got mail too? Can't wait to see.
No, he's like the first postman in the U.S.
I hope we have movies to go to next year. I mean, I like going to the movie theater. So
I want to go to the movie theater so bad. I love going to movies.
Delayed everything. I feel like now they're going to really be competing on which weekends.
Marvel has 4 movies coming out in 2021. I'm like, they're going to go balls to the wall. So it'll be interesting for sure.
But that's fine. 4th of July is going to be the weekend for movies, I feel like.
Well, and
I'll be on the lake. I won't be at the movie theater.
Well, the box office, they make so much money on those holiday weekends. And so it's
Christmas, sure. When there's nothing to do, I'll gladly go to a movie.
A lot of people do a lot of different things, Eric. It's okay. But, all right. So let's refill our glasses. And when we come back, we're going to play a fun little game about the dumpster fire that 2020 was in pop culture. So stay tuned, refill your drink, and we'll be right back.
I love the way that you talk.
And we're back, and in true 2020 fashion, we're going to go through all of the, not all, but a good chunk of the big pop culture moments from the last year and decide if they were hot or not. I don't even know. Is Paris Hilton still doing things? That's hot.
I mean, if they're hot, does a fireman come and hose them off? How does this work? Is a fireman going to be walking to my door?
I sure hope he does. That would be wonderful.
Is fireman hot? Like he's got to take off his shirt hot? Like he's running a temp?
911?
And also, is he hot because he's running a temp? Because I'm not sure if that... I want that in my house.
All right. So let's go way back to January 2020. That's when Megxit happened.
Yes.
In January 2020, the Duke and Duchess announced that they were stepping back from their role as senior members of the royal family. Doesn't it seem
Megxit, I cannot with you.
What? Like
oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a busy 2020 considering. So they moved to Montecito. They're now U.S. residents. And they've signed with agents. They got a Netflix deal. They got a Spotify deal.
I feel like Harry's always been about that life. He's always been a party boy. Like, he likes the limelight, the lifestyle. He's always been out at the clubs. You know, there were those pictures of him in Vegas. And then Meghan's, a Hollywood actress. I feel like this was the plan from the very beginning.
This is going to work for them.
Yeah, I agree. This was a smart move for them.
Yeah. They also named their producing company Archewell Audio, and their son is Archie. I would be pissed if I was child number 2 and be like, dude, am I a producing company? What are you going to name after me? Like,
they'll get something.
Yeah.
Or it's a royal family. With royal family, the second son gets nothing. It's all about the first.
Yeah, so he was smart. Like, let's get out when we can. But yeah, so that was big in January. Next up, do you guys remember who performed at the halftime show last year?
That seemed like ages ago.
Vaguely remember that. Did we go out and watch that?
Yeah, J-Lo and Shakira did the halftime show. And it was like big. Remember Jennifer Lopez had like kids in cages. Shakira did the guitar. And yeah, it was just an okay halftime show for me.
But they got a lot of backlash because they kept saying, oh, she's promoting like stripping on poles and pole dancing. And it's not very appropriate for, I don't want my kids to see that. And it's like, are you kidding me?
If I look like Jennifer Lopez at 52, I would be strip pulling all over my goddamn house.
Like that, yeah. But also like, no, what you're really saying is it's not okay for a woman to like celebrate her body and be proud of her body. And if you want to go strip on a pole, go do it, girl.
Right? Get cash first.
She might have knew what was coming. She was trying to live her best life.
Just collect that body up front. That's
yeah, no. Love it. Love her body. Get it, J-Lo. All right. Next up would be the Oscars back in February. Parasite was the big movie. Remember that guy? He won Best Director, won Best Picture, Best Original Screenplay. Like, Parasite swept the Oscars.
We should have known then that that's the way our 2020 was going to go.
Yeah, right? I never saw it. Did you guys see it?
No.
Never saw it.
Yeah,
it's all subtitled, right? It's a foreign film.
It's the first non-English language film to win Best Picture at the Oscars, which is very, very interesting. But yeah, it's about like a family that lives in the basement of another family and slowly takes over their lives or something. Like, they're the parasites. I'm not entirely sure, but that's what I read online. That's what Wikipedia told me.
Not interested.
Yeah. All right. Next up was the Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston reunions.
It was so cute.
So if you remember way back in early 2020, back when we still had award shows and people could hang out and touch each other, Brad referred to Jennifer as a good friend, but at the Screen Actors Guild, they were showing off some very flirtatious body language. And the photo that I have, and if you're listening, you can always go online to our YouTube account and check out the video portion of our podcast and see what photo I'm talking about. But it's just like this the whole photo, like I looked through like 20 photos and this is the one I settled on because it's like Brad holding her hand, like, don't go, don't leave me.
What if they've been quarantining the whole time together and nobody knows? Like,
wouldn't you die?
I would love it.
Yeah. And
Jennifer's
then
like 6 months pregnant now.
The only reunion that anybody wanted all of 2020, I was so sick of these little Zoom reunions. I'm like, oh.
Well, and it's interesting. Brad's going back to the long hair. That's kind of what he had when he and Jennifer were first together. Like, maybe she likes longer hair.
Oh, it would be everything. I wish them the best. And
Yeah.
it was 20 years later. Like, what a reunion.
Yeah, she looks the same.
Talk about another woman that it just has the most beautiful body and takes care of it.
That Vino ad she does. Like,
yeah. But and then they also reunited on a Zoom reunion online and did the table read for Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And they played a couple and they had this flirty language and just the way they looked at each other. Like, I would love that for them. I could see it happening. He really wanted kids. I don't think she did. And now that he's got them, like, I could see her being that cool stepmom,
here's a 100 grand. Have a great time in Paris. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
I would be a cool stepmom for Brad. So.
Yeah. Do you guys remember this woman, Charlotte Aubert?
Yes. What song was it?
It's in the Shallow by Lady Gaga. Yeah, she was walking down the subway and he handed her the microphone and was like, sing a song. And she started singing Shallow from A Star Is Born by Lady Gaga. And it went viral. And in just a few days, she got like 100,000 Instagram followers. And she was on Ellen. She was on the late night shows. I rewatched it in preparing this and she is really good.
Did anything happen after that?
No, I don't think so.
Well, 2020 happened. She might have had something happen. Yeah. But yeah, the acoustics in a subway, that's why all those performers go down to the subway and perform because the acoustics are so well. So it really.
I always thought it was because they were like homeless.
Well, that too, but still. Work with what you have.
Yeah, but it was a very pure moment in 2020 of February before we knew what was going to happen next.
I gotta say that's not the most flattering photo for Josh.
I wanted one with the microphone of her in the subway. Okay, I had very limited information to work with. Okay, all right. So next up, I have Mr. Michael B. Jordan. And in 2020, Michael was named one of the 100 most influential people in the world by Time magazine, as well as the sexiest man alive by People magazine. And later in the year, the New York Times ranked him number 15 in the list of the 25 greatest actors of the 21st century.
Wow.
So a more modern take, which makes sense because he's got quite a little range on him. And he's been working with Ryan Coogler a lot, who did Black Panther. And he did that Just Mercy, which everyone was raving about. I think that was a 2020 film, wasn't it? That Just Mercy with him in it. It was kind of more of an independent film, but he played a lawyer who believed, where he believed his client was falsely accused. It was a black man. And it was just really well done, I heard.
It's on a true story, I believe, as well.
I believe so. And he is just a fine-looking man.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he deserves it. Yeah, no, props.
Yeah. Sexy and influential.
Yeah.
Come on over, baby. Okay, next up, another hottie, Chris Evans camera roll, because two reasons. So first, in September, he had his...
Yeah, let's get to the second reason.
Oh, no, I want to know what the first reason. His camera roll made it on Instagram, and we saw his little Captain America.
Yeah.
And it, is America's dick, and we love it. And then he used it, and I do believe it was innocent. I do believe he did not mean for it to go out there, but he turned it around and made it this huge voting effort, which was super cool, and made sure people were registered. But then also later in the year, he did one of those little Instagram, TikTok challenges, shirtless, and we discovered he was covered in tattoos.
And they're not even like the best tattoos either.
But still blown away by that. I was like, I did not know that he was covered in tattoos.
I had
it's not like it's idea. A sleeve. Like a sleeve is nice. I get that, or a big like tattoo that covers a lot of space. But these are like all like little individual tattoos that I don't think they connect to each other. They're just
Isn't that a giant eagle covering his whole right pec?
Yeah, his boobie's got a bird on it.
Say I'm a bird.
Yeah, we've seen him, and actually now I think if you look at that photo of him in the blue, you can kind of see a tattoo underneath that blue shirt. How many more does he have?
That little peekaboo one, that's sexy, but like all this stuff like on his beautifully sculpted abs, like no, I don't need any of those.
Imagine you're like Scott Evans' boyfriend and like sitting poolside and you guys are dating, and then all of a sudden his brother comes home like this and gets on the diving board. Where do you even go from there? Like,
I would ask for a threesome.
I feel like I had this Captain America image in my head, the whipped cream from Not Another Teen Movie, the Fantastic Four burnt up suit. I have all these sexy images of Chris Evans, and the tattoos. I love a good tattoo. I think it can be very sexy. Mm-hmm. I think these are weird and
so did we find out, are these new tattoos or has he had them covered up in the movies that he's been shirtless?
I would bet money that they photoshopped them out more recently, but I don't know how old they are.
Well, what was the movie that I was watching the other day that I was sending you guys, like basically like screenshots of him almost?
That was an old one with Anna Faris. That was a very old one.
Yeah, he had zero tattoos in that one.
Yeah. Well, and like in the Captain America ones when he's shirtless, I mean, he doesn't have those on him, but who knows? But yeah, Chris Evans, his camera roll, I just,
yeah,
he's so beautiful.
It was one of the good things of 2020.
I would like to slide into his DMs for sure.
We kind of touched on this earlier, but the TikTok guy, Nathan Apodaca, I think I said that right. I did not know he was literally, his truck broke down on his way to work. He was 2 miles from the potato warehouse where he worked, and he had his skateboard. And so he jumped on the highway and grabbed that guy's thing, opened up his TikTok account. And
this is where we're all different, because our asses would have been on the side of the road calling like, come get me. I called off. My truck broke down.
I would have called one of you all to come get me.
Absolutely.
No TikTok.
Josh, could you imagine if I'd be like, your skateboard's in the back, just hop on it?
Yeah. And literally within its first hour on TikTok, it got 100,000 views. And now it has more than 35 million. And they believe over 134,000 tribute videos have made, resulting in almost 500 million views. I mean, Mick Fleetwood, did one. It's
Fleetwood Mac.
Mick Fleetwood is the guy of Fleetwood Mac, though.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good to know.
I thought you had a stroke for a second. I was
like, girl, you got to flip it and reverse it.
No. Mick Fleetwood is the man. He is the Fleetwood in the Fleetwood Mac.
I was today years old when I learned that.
Oh my gosh, I can't with you guys. But yeah, and so it brought money to Fleetwood Mac as they got all the royalties, and brought a whole new life to Fleetwood Mac. I think there are kids born in 2008 that were like, who's this new band?
I love that his screen name is 420 Dogface 208.
Right. Yeah, but good for him. That made his life hopefully a little bit better. I also wanted to talk about the chart throbs of 2020. During the longest week of November, we turned to our cable news anchors, Steve Kornacki, John King, and Phil Mattingly, to help us understand what the heck was going on in the U.S. and who was going to be president. As we will return to them tonight, as Georgia has cast their votes. They got to pull out their boards again. I can't wait to go to CNN and see what they're up to. Checking with
I'm
some
sure
old
you can't wait to see their boards.
Right?
Hopefully they've gotten some sleep.
Yeah. Right. Love them. And then next up, young Joe Biden. Because that photo of young Joe Biden just does it for me.
Young Joe Biden can get it.
Right?
What do you think is in his bag there? Like, is it like wine?
That's a 40. It's a 40 ounce.
It's booze. Joe's going to have a good time. And hopefully I'm in his hotel room.
Does he have a pen in his pocket?
Who knows? I don't care what it is. It's probably malt liquor. It's a Smirnoff Ice. But no, and it's, what a year it was. But in November, after the largest voter turnout in U.S. history, America got its 46th president, Mr. Joe Biden, and also our first female vice president, Ms. Kamala Harris. And it's just amazing that in a few short weeks, we'll be inaugurating them into the White House after a deep clean. But yes, young Joe Biden. I was like looking through and I want to do something, and he's just a yummy little snack, and hopefully he'll do America proud. And it's funny, we talked about it a little bit ago, but Harry Styles, and I wanted to show the Vogue cover that he was on, because he really did have a great 2020 between Watermelon Sugar, Adore You. He had a lot of big hits here in the US as well as overseas. And just seeing him in this Gucci gown, just not giving a flying fuck. And he was voted GQ's most stylish man of the year in 2020. And he was the first solo male to grace the Vogue cover for its December issue.
Well, let's face it. He was the Justin of that group. I mean, he was going to always be the breakout.
You know what? I guess I would agree with that. But I am shocked that so many of the other ones are finding so much success. I mean, Neil Horan, Zayn Malik.
Zayn Malik is he's dating Gigi Hadid. That's what he's got going for him. What else does he have going right now? Didn't
he have the hit song with Taylor Swift? And
if you have to say "didn't he" before the sentence, then it's not a thing.
I mean,
I had Niall Horan's album on repeat all summer long.
I didn't know that the other one's name was even Neil until you said it.
Niall.
My apologies.
No, he's really good. I think he had that not hands to myself. What's the one about the hands? That was a big hit here. But no, I think he's really talented as well.
What's the fifth one's name?
There's one I always forget about.
There's always one everyone always forgets about.
I know.
Patrick, the Danny Woods.
Who's Danny Woods?
From New Kid on the Block.
Oh, Louis. You're talking about Louis.
Louis Tomlinson.
Louis.
No, there's another one that's kind of hotter.
Which one is? How many are there?
He smokes. He's taller. He smokes.
Isn't there only 6 of them? You just or 5. You just named them.
No, Harry.
Neil, Louis, Harry, Zion. Oh, there's another one.
There's
That's
a fifth
crazy.
one.
I know 4 of their names. Look at me. Go.
I know there's the fifth one. I always forget about. I feel bad, but I don't. He's the one that was dating, I think, one of the girls from Fifth Harmony. I don't think it's the one that left. Now they're a threesome, but whatever. Liam Payne.
Liam Payne.
He had the duet with Rita. He had the duet with Rita Ora from 50 Shades of Grey. Waiting a Lifetime for You. For You. That was the name of it. It was a hit. But yeah, so that was it. That is to December. So just a little recap of stuff that I thought we might not have talked about. But we were pretty good. We did. But yeah, so that was 2020 in a nutshell, boys.
What a 2020 it was. Yeah.
Right. I think we should raise our glasses one last time. Say thank you for teaching us a lesson that hopefully we'll understand one day.
Sayonara.
And in the words of Golden Girls, thanks for being a friend.
Lovely. All right. For all you listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, the best review you can give us is to go online, rate, review, subscribe, share with a friend, share with a coworker. We love you. We appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, bye.
Bye.
Bye.